Good morning and welcome to Creative Works Homemade Art. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing some footage from my very first solo art camping adventure. The camping portion was solo, and you're going to see footage here pretty soon of the setup in the back of our vehicle that I used as a place to sleep and store all the camping supplies. But you're also going to see some footage of artwork being created, a little short kayaking adventure. There's some sun prints. This camping trip, I was alone for the camping part of it, but then a group of families from our church came. Here's the footage of the inside of the vehicle. It was a very simple setup for the first time, but it worked. Anyway, so the next morning, some families from our church met up with me at the campground, and we did a nature hike, we did sun prints, and we did some nature journaling activities together, which was super fun. Here's my little tiny camp stove, heating up water to make coffee and oatmeal in the morning. So through the rest of this video, you're going to see footage of the campsite and some footage of me working in my journal, in nature journal, and adding a little painting of a scene that was visible right at the back of our campsite. So while the journaling portion of the footage is rolling, I want to talk a little bit about how important it's been for me at certain seasons of life, even more than others, to make sure that I take some time for refreshing, things that refresh my soul and help me to be a better mother, a better wife, a better family member, a better friend, etc. And yeah, the car camping is kind of a big deal as far as a getaway. But there's lots of smaller things in smaller moments that can be taken that just build us back up so that we can, in turn, care for our family members and our loved ones. So I'm going to go back and talk a little bit about when my kids were young and I was homeschooling full-time and being a full-time stay-at-home housewife. It was a time of great joy and it was such a blessing. I loved that time of life very, very much. But still, as with really anything, any time of life in any situation, there are pressures that come. And when your kids are young and when you are busy with whatever childhood things are going on at that time, you're on 24/7. It's so important. It's so important to take breaks and to ask for help, to accept help. So one of the ways that I was able to be refreshed was from the grandparents. And we were very, very blessed, but still are, to have grandparents that were close by who were very involved, very willing to babysit or to take the kids to activities if we had too many things going on at one time. And it was just such a wonderful blessing to me. It was a wonderful blessing to our kids to get to spend time, real quality time with their grandparents. And I will be forever grateful for how they helped us get through those years. Another wonderful opportunity for help and refreshment that I was blessed with, and I know that this does not, well, none of these work for everybody. It very much depends on your situation. But we were able to hire a teenage girl who was also in our homeschool group to be a mother's helper for about a year and a half. And she would come once a week for part of a day, and she would play games with the kids. She worked on some of the younger kids' schoolwork with them. And I was able to get groceries or do other errands or have coffee with a friend. It was just a wonderful blessing and a wonderful help. And yes, it cost a little bit, but moms, sometimes you need to do what is needed to keep yourself built up, keep yourself refreshed, not just muscle through every single day. And I know that moms can get very good at muscling through. And then the third thing that I wanted to highlight as far as a time of refreshment that I got to experience as a homeschool mom. Oh my goodness. I forgot this was in the video. So there was a hair stuck to my watercolor notebook there, and it just was driving me crazy. Eventually I got it. Anyway, this third thing is, again, it's not for everybody, but it was a wonderful, wonderful blessing for me, and that was my friends that we were doing co-op together would do what we called teacher in service days. And then for about 5 years, once a year, we took a mom's retreat and went away for just one night. Where we lived, our retreat of choice was to go about 2 hours north of us to Lake Michigan and spend a whole day, or most of a day, just relaxing on a beach, have a nice dinner, and then the next day go to an outlet mall. And it was just so much fun. And yes, we had to have our husband's support to make that happen. But it was a huge blessing. It was fun. It built these wonderful memories. And we did it in August, so right before our school year would start back up. And it just became something to look forward to, something to even think back on during the school year as just a wonderful time of getting away with other moms who were in similar life situations. We talked about school, we talked about our relationships with the Lord, we encouraged each other. It was just an absolute wonderful time. And so those are three things that while I was in the full-time area of life with homeschooling and raising kids. But even now that I am all finished homeschooling my own children, my children are all adults, and I am a grandma now, which is absolutely wonderful. Actually, I'm a Grammy. But still, even at this stage of life, it is needed to take some time here and there to slow down, to do an activity that is not required, that it's just because I want to do it, and something that I enjoy, and something that gives me opportunity to think, to reflect, to pray, to, for me, I really enjoy being in nature and observing God's creation closely, hearing the sounds, smelling the smells. That is what fills my cup. So that's kind of what led to this thought of doing a car camping adventure in order to be in nature and also combine that with nature journaling, just regular journaling. And after doing it one time, I can say that I definitely want to do it again. It was really fun. This was a really short one, so I'm going to talk a little bit about what my setup was and how I made this happen. It wasn't even a 24-hour getaway. So I had been leading a nature journal class at a local community center on Thursday evenings, and it was our last night of that class. So we went to a local lake, took our nature journals, and nature journaled together. And there's no footage of that in this video, by the way. So that's how the evening started, and that was a couple of hours. And then that morning, I had loaded up all that I thought I needed for the camping and just went straight from that program to a local state park and got a campsite. And it was getting to be later in the evening, so it was still light, but it was definitely twilight. So as far as setting up camp, I had just brought a cot mattress to put in the back of our vehicle. I had a small cooler with some food. I had very minimal camping supplies because the trip was going to be so short. I did have a camp chair, the little camp stove that you saw earlier for making a very simple breakfast, and then lots of my art supplies. So I got some little battery lights and had hung them in the vehicle, which worked nicely for giving some light even when the doors were closed. And I had a big jug of water for both washing hands and rinsing off dishes, painting, etc. So the setup was very simple, and like I said, I didn't even get set up until later in the evening. Did not really have any time that evening to paint outside because by the time I was done, it was dark. The next morning, though, that's the footage you're seeing of this scene into the woods, and then the little flicker, or he wasn't little, he's kind of big. That's all the next morning. So I had a lovely morning at the campsite with my coffee and my oatmeal and painting this scene that was right into the woods at the back of my campsite. And people had taken down logs and sticks and had stacked them all up to make this teepee looking configuration just inside the woods, which was really fun to see. And the morning light was shining through the leaves. It was just it looked like looking at stained glass through the woods with all the greens and yellows and the dark areas, the light areas. It was just beautiful, and all the bird sounds. And I heard lots of birds and saw lots of birds there at the campsite in the morning, but the northern flicker is who I chose to add onto my nature journal page here. I know earlier in the video I had some photos stuck in from the nature hike that then happened later that morning with some of our church families. And we hiked around one of the lakes there at the campground and saw so many butterflies. Oh my goodness. We saw lots of butterflies. We identified a few plants and that grow along the edge of the lake that were new to us. One was the button bush, and that was really interesting to find out that it's in the coffee family. I didn't know we had anything in Indiana in the coffee family. And we saw a bush that with really bright red berries that we found out was called the Gilder Rose, which is also a native plant to Indiana. And we saw some mushrooms, and I didn't get any pictures of it, but we did see a beaver when we were crossing over one of the channels. It was just a wonderful time, and I hope, and I think it was also a wonderful time of refreshing for all those families that came, who are homeschool families also, by the way. So, as we're getting to the end of this video, I just want to encourage you, moms in particular, homeschool moms, public school moms, whatever your mom situation is, to know that it's okay to take breaks. And part of the beauty and the freedom that we have in Christ is the knowledge that he is in control. And if we let that sink in, that he is in control, then that is going to equal the knowledge that we are not in control, and that we don't have to perform optimally 24/7, 365 days a year in order for things to be okay. That's not up to us. And the Lord wants us to abide in him, to take times of resting in him, to enjoy the life he's given us, to enjoy our children, enjoy our families, enjoy the world that he has created for us. And not everybody's cup of tea is painting or drawing, but if that's part of what is refreshing to you, then find times, even 15 minutes here and there, where you can do a little bit of a creative activity, whatever that might be, something that brings you joy, that sparks excitement in your soul. Yeah, I think that's all I wanted to say. There's a little jewel weed, and there is a fuzzy photo of a button bush. Well, I hope you all have a very blessed day. Thank you for being here. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and give the channel a subscribe. And I will be planning on sharing more videos that are art related, that hopefully can give you some easy ways to incorporate more art and nature appreciation into your own homeschools and your own life. Thank you.